What's up everybody and welcome to the Phase Reviews YouTube channel. My name is Jordan and if you are a subscriber, welcome back, and if you're new, thank you for joining us. Today I have another affordable soundbar, back-to-back weeks with soundbars. This is the Geekroom 24-inch soundbar. This is something that I had no idea what it was when the company offered to send it to me, and it has absolutely blown me away in every aspect. Build quality, sound. This is going to be the new leader in soundbars in my house going forward. So today on this channel, I'm going to unbox it. I put everything back in. I'm going to tell you how it works. I'm going to show you everything that comes in the box, give you my impressions of the sound quality, and let you know whether or not, I can do this, I think it's worth picking up for yourself. So before we get started, if you're not a subscriber, hopefully I can earn that subscription by the end of this video, but let's not waste time talking about that, and let's look at this Geekroom soundbar. So on this channel, we always start with the packaging. It tells us a little bit about the company and about the product, and like the soundbar we had last week from Tautronics, this is very simple and plain. They do include kind of a diagram of the soundbar as well as let's see, which way? That way. As well as a few little indicators of the functions of this unit. This has a few more connections than the Tautronics, and so we'll talk about those in a second. A few specs right off the bat. This is a 40-watt soundbar, like I said, 24 inches, so not as wide as the Tautronics, but a little bit deeper and a little bit taller, and as such has bigger drivers which play into the sound, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But let's not waste any more time with packaging. Let's open this up and take a look at it. Now, Geekroom is not a brand I'm familiar with, one of the hundreds of Amazon brands out there. And so I didn't know what to expect from this, but looking them up, their products are very well reviewed on Amazon. And so, it was worth it for me to also take a look at it and see how it held up to the other soundbars that I have owned. Like I mentioned, I've got the Tautronics in my bedroom, and I have a Vizio, very common one you'd see at Walmart in my living room. And so right off the bat, we've got a little installation mounting guide right here. This has holes in the paper so that you can line up the screws on your wall to mount this. So nice that they included this. If you're someone that uses a TV that's mounted on the wall, you don't have to have a tape measure to perfectly measure out your screw distances from each other. Put this up on the wall, make sure it's level with a level, and then just mark it with a pencil and drill it. And this saves you a ton of time installing this if you choose to mount it. Looking inside the box, very similar setup. You've got the soundbar in some foam wrapped in plastic. It came to me in great condition, which I always love to see. Up on top of the soundbar, you've got your accessory bag here. They include an optical cable, which I like to see, as well as a remote. And we can take a quick look at that remote. It's got a lot of good functions on it, so you're going to see your typical D-pad right here, volume up and down, as well as track forward and backward. Below that, you have individual buttons for all of, here, let me take this out of plastic, that'll make it easier to see. You have individual buttons for all of the different inputs, and let's talk about the inputs real quick. This has more than the Tautronics we looked at before. It has an optical input, which is pretty standard. It has an aux input, also pretty standard. It also has coax, as well as Bluetooth and USB for music playback. So a few different options for movies and TV, as well as playing music, and this really excels in the music department. We'll talk about that in a moment. Below the inputs, you have mode buttons. You get 3 on this. You have movie, music, and dialogue, so depending on the situation or which sound profile you prefer, you can choose one of those modes. And then you have a few EQ adjustments, just treble and bass, as well as a reset button to turn everything back to flat. So a little more full featured than the Tautronics, and it's a remote, so it's not the best build quality, but it is going to stand up. No sweat there. Batteries not included, so you got to get those yourself. Putting the accessories down for a second, we can pull out the sound bar. Actually, before we do that, there's a few more accessories. So there's this little box on the end right here. If I open that up, you're going to find your power cable. It is removable, which I like to see. So if you get a short in your cable, you can replace it. Not something you see on a lot of soundbars, and a welcome addition, so I like to see that. You have an aux cord right here, standard headphone, 3.5 millimeter tip ring sleeve to connect MP3 players, or if your device just, projector or something has that output for sound, you have that as well. And then you have some mounting hardware. You have your drywall anchors, your screws, and a couple brackets to put the sucker on the wall. And you've got your guide we mentioned, so that makes that really easy. So that is the rest of our accessories. Let us take a look now at the soundbar itself. If we pull this out, this one is, like I said, very different from the Tautronics we looked at last week. This one is beefier as far as the height. It's also a little shorter, 24 inches as opposed to the 32, and a nice glossy finish, which I've just put fingerprints on. So maybe a little bit tougher to keep clean, but man, it looks classy. That is for sure. Let me turn it around to the back. On the back, you have your mounting brackets right there, and then you have all of your inputs. So like I mentioned, you've got coax, optical, auxiliary, I don't know how to say that word, USB, and did I miss anything? Optical, yeah, no, that's all of them. So there's 4 right there. And then, of course, you have your Bluetooth as well. The buttons for this unit are on the side, so you don't have to see them from the front when it's in use. And you've got 4 rubber buttons. Nice, good click to them. There you go. And they're the same as we saw on the Tautronics. So you've got a, can I get that in frame? Volume up, volume down, source change, and power button. Going back to the front of the soundbar real quick, you'll notice that there are some colored dots with some text there. So that will tell you what the mode indicator means. So if it is in, for example, you're blue, you're in the Bluetooth. If you're in the white, you're on optical. If you're in the yellow, you're on aux, and so forth. So you can take that off. It's just a sticker, but as you're learning the functions at the beginning, that can tell you what mode you are in. I like to see indicators like that so that we know what mode we're in without having to cycle through all of the different options. So I'm going to set the box for this on the ground real quick, the mounting guide. And just some impressions on this. When I got it out, first of all, I thought it looked super classy with that like shiny piano black finish. It's very heavy. And like I mentioned with the taller footprint here, this is going to have bigger speaker drivers in it. And bigger speaker drivers, as far as the diameter, means more bass extension usually. You know, obviously a lot of factors play into that. But in this case, this has much better bass extension than the Tautronics soundbar I looked at. Not knocking the Tautronics, it just had a different application. With this, you're going to get very respectable sound reproduction for a movie with, you know, explosions and gunshots. It's not the same as a subwoofer, it's not the same as a home theater system, but it's much, much closer. The sound is very full. I turned on some music and I was actually kind of blown away by how clear the bass drum was, how much force it had, you know, for being a very small sound bar. Now, one of the cons of the speaker is the length at 24 inches. This is not going to give you a huge separation of stereo image, if much at all, depending on how far back you're seated from your TV. With the soundbar, I'm not really looking for that a ton. It's a bonus, but you know, I just really want clear dialogue and upgraded sound over a TV's speakers. And I mentioned this last week, but your TV speakers, especially in these flat screen TVs that everyone uses nowadays, they just can't reproduce sound very good, and they're firing down or they're firing back into the wall, and so you're not hearing really good clear audio. So a soundbar is going to help. Even if you're just watching Netflix, if you're watching the news, you're going to hear the dialogue a lot more clearly, especially on the quiet parts of the movies that you're watching. I really like this speaker a lot. I've said that it really exceeded my expectations. I was ready to give it like a lukewarm recommendation, but this is going to by far be my favorite soundbar under $100 that I have tested. Highly recommend it. So I'm not going to do a sound check on this video. I don't do things like speakers on the channel because by the time it comes through the speaker into the camera's mic, through the audio editing software, uploaded to YouTube, and then through your speakers or headphones, it's not going to sound anything like it does in real life, but I can recommend it. And so hopefully that's good enough for you. If you want to hear one of these, you know, if you buy through Amazon, of course you can just return it if you don't like it, but I do not anticipate that being the case. It is a very nice soundbar for the price. So if you want to pick one of these up, there's going to be a link down in the description. You can buy through there and support the channel. I would, of course, love you for it. Let me know what you think of this. If you grab one, come back. A lot of people do that on my videos and let me know, oh, I was super happy to get this. I love hearing feedback like that. If there's something you want to see on the channel, a particular product, just let me know. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. It would be great to have you as a subscriber on the channel so you can watch all the new tech reviews and overview videos coming out every week. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.